All right. Good morning, everybody. All of those thousands who are joining us from online. It's good. It's not here because I don't know if there's any empty seats here. It's bumper to bumper. You guys obviously can't see. So, all right. So we left off the top of Chaf Aleph. Good morning, Mark. Let's start. So we discussed yesterday, we were talking about two different types of nidre havoi, sort of exaggeration, right? One is a term that's commonly used for exaggeration, a lot of people, such as Olam Mitzrayim. So, and then one of them said, okay, maybe it was like a little shtick the guy was trying to do, that the item should be usher, because maybe when he says Olam Mitzrayim, he's referring to ants. You know, there were 600,000 ants. So you say, no, people, when they make Nedarim, they use the Lashon that Chachamim use. They can't and don't use their own. So now we're two lines from the top of Chaf Hey Amud Aleph. And good morning, huh? How are you? Hope you got some sleep. You have your voice left from all your coaching and yelling at your players. Hope you got the W. All right.
We did.
Two lines on the top. And people don't swear by their own terms in their mind. Votani, we're going to write. So when they would make him swear, they would say, not, by the way, you should know, before we make this oath, that not that which goes on in your brain that we're making you swear. Rather on our das, right? The way we interpret words. So don't try and pull any shtick on us. Ve'al das basin lafuki might to exclude what? So lav lafuki dasik lu yaskin daidri vasik lu shema zuza. By the fact, let's say he was saying, I gave him. He referred to, let's say, wood chips as coins, right? Say, hey, I gave him his coins, right? And in his mind, he's swearing, yeah, I gave him his coins because I gave him wood chips. I gave him something worthless, trying to sort of, pull a shtick. Right? But the fact that they made him say this, the basin says to him, it must be that people are mishtava al daita d'nafshe. So go answer low, lafuki mekanya derava. To exclude the actually famous case, it's famous, but I certainly remember it. I think there's other places also from Rava. Somebody owed someone money. Also, the coming the Rava. So Amar Le Leleiva Zil Parele. So they told the bower, go ahead and pay the guy. Amar Le Parazicha. I paid him. So he said, okay. Amar Le Rava Kain Zil the Shtabale the price. So he says, okay, go ahead and swear that you paid him. Azul Baisi Kanya says, okay, want me to swear? There, bring my cane. V'yayiv Zuza Begava. And let's say he borrowed $100. He took the cane. He put $100 of coins in the cane, a little weighted. So then he took his cane to Beis Din with $100 in it, and that was the amount that was being claimed from him by the lender. So Amarle Lamalva. So Nakat Haikana Biyadecha, here, hold my cane while I go ahead and go up to the Beis Din to make the shvua. The guy's sitting right there. So Nasa, Sefer Torah B'Shtove. So he took the Sefer Torah, he made a shvua, the pare kol ma david biyadei. He says, everything I owed him, I put in his hand already. Made a shvua. And having Malva Rogas, the lender got so upset because he knew there was a bunch of lies. Rogas the Taber, he smashed the cane, and lo and behold, right? It was like the Sammy Sosa cork bat, right? He smashed the cane, and all the coins came flying out. So they realized that the guy was, pulling shtick. He says, oh yeah, everything everything I owed, I put in his hand, and lo and behold, it is true, right? It was in the cane, right? So it turns out that he swore honestly, and therefore, so we want to exclude cases like that. We don't want people to make shvuas on that das. We want to do al das basin. So therefore, that's why we did it over there. And still we don't have people make shvuas on their own. But time I'm going to advise when he made Arvas Moav, when he was in Arvas Moav, when he swore to Bnei Israel to do the mitzvahs, Amar Lahem, right? You should know that when you swear, it's not on your own das, rather on my das, and the das of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shenamar, So, not just with you, right? In other words, not your understanding, my understanding. So my Omerlu Moshe Yisrael. What did Moshe Rabbeinu say to Yisrael? Lav Hachi Kamarlu. This is not how they say this. Dilma Avidasun Milei Ramisan Al Daseinu. Perhaps you can do something to say, oh, it was only on our das. Mishum Hachi Amarlu Al Daisi. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu on my das. Whatever I'm making you swear, what's going in my mind, that you should fill the Torah mitzvahs, right? I.e., we're talking about the same thing. Do not move the goalposts. So la fuke mai toxlu la la fuke da siko shma lavados khavem alaya. Right? Maybe they'll say, okay, they're going to interpret, God as vados khavem. So when they swear, yeah, we'll serve God, in their minds, they're thinking, okay, we'll just, serve vados khavem. Yeah. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu wants to prevent this. So when I say serve God, I'm referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Michal David Inshin Mishtaveh Adait Drashe. Right? This would we can conclude from there that people, when they do make shvuas, they do it on their own das. The rest is not low. It is referred to the chesiv of Hey Mitzrayim. It says all the gods of the Egypt. So I Lishon Yasun and Kaisam mitzvahs. So why don't you just say to them, you should fulfill the mitzvahs? So Mashum Mitzvah Melech. Maybe that could be that if they were swearing that, they would say, okay, the commands of the king. Avlisho Yasun, they become as kol mitzvahs. Why don't you say kol mitzvahs? So where answers no Mashum mitzvahs tzitzis. Maybe that would mean mitzvah of tzitzis. Damar shkula mitzvah tzitzis. Can I call mitzvah Shabbat Torah? Right. The mitzvah of tzitzis is really can I call all the mitzvahs of the Torah? Right, because we know right the gematria of tzitzis is 600. Right, 8 strings, 5 knots. Right, so you add it up, and that's 613. Velishva yasun demikayamasun Torah. So let's say swear they should be Mekayim Torah. So Masha Torah Achas says, okay, it's one Torah. It's only Torah Shavchsav, not Torah Shavapeh. Valisho Yasu, the Mekayim is a Torahs. Okay, so maybe he should have just swore, not say Al Daithi, but they should have said, okay, you guys will fulfill the Torahs. So Mashma Torahs Mincha, Torahs Chatas, Torahs Asham, right? The Torah references the Torahs Mincha, Torahs Chatas, Torahs Asham. So maybe it's referring to those Torahs. Okay, those Korbanos will keep. So I Valishon Yasun, the Mekayim Sun, Torahs, Mitzvahs. Right, so maybe we say Torahs and mitzvahs. Maybe we think Torahs mashma, Torahs and mincha, and mitzvahs mashma, mitzvahs hamelach. Okay, so it could be a combination of the two. V'lishva yasu the miskamas Torah kula, right? So maybe Torah kula. If we would have just made him swear Torah kula, so the answer is Torah kula mashma avodas kachavim. Maybe that could be for avodas kachavim. The Tanya learned in Brisa chamura avodas kachavim shakol kaifer ba ki'ilu maida b'Torah kula. So the chomer is of chavim that whoever is kaifer in that is kilu he's made the Torah kula knows as long as one rejects of chavim it's like he fulfilled Torah kula. So maybe when they want to say okay all the Torah maybe it's referring to just of chavim. So I Velishon Yasud the Miskaimus Avodas Kachavim the Torah Kula. Okay, so say that you're going to fulfill right. You're not going to observe, or you're not going to do worship other gods and the entire Torah. So Inami Sheish Meos V'Sheish Yisrei Mitzvahs or 630 mitzvahs. Spell it out. Tell Moshe Rabbeinu Nilsa D'Lei Tirchanach. Okay, he wants to say a short way. So instead of saying all that, he just said basically. When I make you swear, right, and you guys are swearing to me, what I'm referring to, and no shtick. I know you guys like to play shtick. Bye. 2 dots. Towards the bottom of Chaf Hey Amud Aleph, 6 lines from the bottom. So he says, Im lo re'isi nachash k'kares beis Shabbat. So he said, if I sure these apples should be also to me, if I did not see a snake the size or the snake like a beis Shabbat, right, like the beam. Like the beam of the olive of the beis Shabbat, right? They crushed out the olive press. So he didn't see it; they're not that big, and therefore, so it was really an exaggeration. And then there's not how. I've alone. There's no snakes that big. There was a snake in the days of Shura Malka. And Rabbi Tleisar. Or Vasa Desivna, Ubala Yosun, right? They threw him, I guess, 13 bundles of hay and it completely swallowed up and it was fine. So it's a huge snake. So there are huge snakes. So Shmuel B'Taruf. So no, it was ridged. The snake, he meant the snake it was ridged like that of the beam of an olive press. So kulunakshi mitar tarfi. Right? All of them are ridge. So it says, no, agava taraf kamrina is referring to the ridge on the back, right? Which is not, which does not occur with snakes. And therefore, it was complete exaggeration. And he says, I need taruf. Why don't you just say, okay, if I, it should be, this fruit should be also to me. If I saw a rich snake today, which he did not ridged on his back. So the answer is no. Come teach you something else. The kores beisavad gavutaraf, that the back part of the beam of the olive press is ridged. So lamai nafkamina. So what's the difference? Right, in terms of business, the chaver one goes ahead and he sells a beam of an olive press to his friend. All right, if it's ridged like it normally should be, then it's a good kinyan. But if it's not, then basically there's something wrong with the beam. And therefore, the sale, that I guess the buyer can basically say, "Hey, this is not, this is not up to par," and therefore the sale is null and void. Fine. Now Mishnah. All right. Now Mishnah on Chav Hey Amud Beis top. Nidre Shagugos. What are, so this is the third category. We already had Nidre Havai. We had Nidre Zuzin, and now Nidre Shagos, right? There's a Shogeg, so there's a mistake. Now, there's two different mistakes that are going to be explained in the Mishnah. One at the time of the Neder, and another one at the time of where it's potentially going to be Chal. Let's see. Nidre Shagos, imachalti v'im shasisi. So he says, okay, this item will be usher to me, right? If I drink today, if I ate today, he's basically telling you that I didn't eat, I didn't drink. The Nizkar, and all of a sudden later on, then he realized later on that he ate or drank. In other words, the mistake was that at the time he made the nether, he completely forgot. He never had intention to have this nether, right? Because he completely thought that he did not eat or drink today. He was trying to prove that he didn't eat it. He's trying to prove that he didn't eat or drink today, right? Comes from Shul, and he's on a strict diet. His wife gave him orders not to go ahead and eat. He says, I'll give you $1 million, or all of our bank accounts are usher to me if I ate today. And I didn't eat today, right? And all of a sudden he realized, I went to, the rabbi spoke, and he went out, had a little kiddush during the speech, right? So he forgot. So therefore, that's called Nidre Shigos. Right? So he says, or he ate, right? Or he drank, right? Shaisa, right? And then he said he wasn't going to do it, and he forgot that he made such a shvua or such a nether, right?
Going to.
What? He says an item, he says something is going to be usher, right? Something is usher to me. If I go ahead and eat today or I drink today, right? He wants to be on a diet. He wants to go to the
first case.
So
is where he already did.
But this is the mistake. This was the mistake was at the time of whether nether was chal by the trigger, not the time when he made it. In other words, he forgot later on that he made this nether earlier, and therefore, since he forgot about it, he never intended to do it. Therefore, he's achav shasa. That's called nidre shigos. Or my wife is forbidden for me, right? Because she stole money from me. She wanted my wallet. She hit my son. The naida shalai kosu. The naida shalai gamba. Right, and then it'll turn out later that that she never hit him or she never stole money from him. So they're also nidre shigos. The nanny, yeah. Check the nanny. And Ra. Now, this is going to be the case that we're going to be discussing today. Ra Aisan Eichlim Tain. All right, important case. A person sees that some of the people are eating Tainim, figs. The Omar Hare Aleichem Karba. What are you guys eating my figs for? They are upon all you guys. Sees the group huddled around his figs. You guys, those items are usher to you guys, right? Like a karban. Right now, he's answering his figs upon this group of people because he saw them eating his figs. He wasn't happy, and he made that neder. The nimtzu, and turns out he got a better look. And Aviv Achiv, he saw his father and his brother were there, and he never would have made such a neder if his father or his brother was there. So, so in that case, one second. Okay, V'hayu. Okay, he saw him from a distance. That's basically what I said. All right. It turns out his father was there, and there were others there. So Beis Shammai Omrim Hein Mutarim, right? Umashima Asurim says only the father and brother are released from this nether, but the others, the shvuah still applies, or the nether still applies. Excuse me. Beis Hillel Omrim Elu ve'elu Mutarim. Beis Hillel says both of them are mutter. So everyone agrees that the father and brother are mutter because had he would have known, he never would have made that shvuah. The machlokes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai is as to if we're mater miksaso, are we mater kulo? If we mater part of the shvuah because we mater it for the father and the brother, are we also mater for the others or not? So Beis Shammai says
You can do
it's fulfilled, right? In other words, that nether is still chal on the others. Beis Hillel says, we'll soon see, it'll be like Rabbi Kiva, well, that once you're mater miksaso, then you're mater kul. So that was the last case. Fine.
Rabbi Schottenstein says that it's the figs belong to the father and brother and their mother. It's both.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
well, you don't know why he says it. Okay, I hear. Right. I mean, it would have to be something that he has ownership over, because I can never ask for something which I don't own on somebody else. I can, right? Yeah. I can only ask for something that's something of mine on the others. All right. Let's see. All right.
He never would have taken the shvuah if he'd known it was his father and brother.
All right, that's right. That's what the Mishnah is saying, right? He didn't know that. So Tana Zok the Gemara. Kashem shadidre shagos mutarim. Just like these nadarim that we listed, shagos are mutarim. One does not need to be shayel. Kach shvuah shigas mutaris. So to any shvuah, right? Person makes a shvuah similar to Noah's, but he uses, Shem Hashem. He says something, but they're shvuah, right? I make a shvuah. It's us for me upon to eat, right? Or the fruits will be usher to me if I eat today, right? So such a shvuah, right? We'll say that, like we interpret that we had before, that einachinami, that the nether is not chal, the trigger is not chal, but he's chayiv malchus for making such a shvuah. But the item that he assered is not asser, just like a nether. So to the shvuah of shigas. So hey kidam shvuah shigas kegayin Rav Kahana Rav Asi. Hadin amar shvuah sadach yamarav. Hadin amar shvuah sadach yamarav. They came from the shir. And Rav Kahana says, "Oh, Rav is saying this. What are you talking about? He's saying this." He says, "Okay, Rav Kahana made a shvuah. This is what Rav said." And then Rav Asi says, "No, I'm making a shvuah that opposite. So one of them are right, one of them are wrong." Nevertheless, such a case, each one is thinking that they're 100% right. So since each one thought he's 100% right, it turns out one of them was 100% wrong, right? That's called neither shigos, because at the time when he made the shvuah, he thought certainly that the item wasn't going to be ushered to him, because that what he thought was the case. Fine.
And in all these cases, you don't even have to be matter.
You don't have to be matter, right? That's the important, right? You don't have to be matter it, because that's the level where it's at. Now, as opposed to the next case, the Ran explains actually you do have to match the next case, which we'll see right now. But the Gemara doesn't really spill out. Let's see. Zok the Gemara. So Ra'os and Eichland. So this is the case of the figs. He saw them eating figs from a distance, and he asked them, gets a little closer. It turns out his father and his brother are amongst them, and some of them are, so his father and brother are mutter. The question is, are the others or not? Let's see. The Tanan Has, Paischin the Shabbos v'im typing. We are Pesach and Shabbos and Yantif. In other words, a person says, I am not going to eat wine or drink wine or eat meat the entire year. And then turns out, maybe new to Yiddishkeit, by the way, Shabbos, we partake in wine and meat, and the good thing is also to withhold those items. So we need a Pesach. We now have a Pesach in this guy's shvuah. He should have said, I asked her the entire year of eating or drinking wine and eating meat during the week, just not Shabbos and Yantif. But he didn't say that. So it's not the Pesach, so we can make a Pesach for Shabbos and Yantif. In the beginning, they said that, hey, the days of Shabbos and Yontif, we matter those days. Those days are mutter. You can go ahead and have your cholent. You can have your wine. But the other days are still usher. That is still valid. Ad Shabbat Rabbi Kiva, until Rabbi Kiva came and said, the limade and taught, Neder Shahutar Miktsasa Hutar Kula. Until Rabbi Kiva came and taught, no, even in this case, or we say in this case, that the neder that you matter Miktsasa, you matter everything. So therefore, since we're mattering you Shabbos and Yontif, we matter you everything. Now, this is going to be similar to the case of our Mishnah, right? We had a shita of Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel says, once you're mattering it for the father, you also matter it for everybody else. So over here, once you're mattering it for Shabbos, you matter all the other days for wine and meat. So let's see. Oh, now we're going to machlokes between Rabbah and Rava as to how to understand this machlokes. In other words, now when the guy made a realization of what occurred, what he would have said, let's see, or what he would have done had he known that his father, let's say, was amongst the group. So Amar Rabbah, the Kuli Alma, when he says everybody knows, everyone in the Mishnah, Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai, Kol Heicha de Amar, Ilo Hayisi Yadea. Right, this is the important thing. Ilo Hayisi Yadea. Had I known Shabbat ben Eicha that my father was amongst them, Hayisi Yadea would have said, Kulchem Asurim, Chutz Meyaba. I would have just instead of saying Kulchem Asurim, I would have said Kulchem Asurim, same lashon, change nothing, and just add it on Chutz Meyaba. So Kulchem Asurim Chutz Meyaba. The Kulun Asur and the Aviv Mutter. Everybody is Asur, but the father is Mutter. No, it's like because I wasn't changing the essence of the lashon of the shvua, and therefore I was just tagging on except using except. So therefore, everyone would agree. Even Beis Hillel would agree. Everyone would agree that that everybody else is still Asur. So there's no machlokes ela be'aymer either hayisi yadea Shabbat ben Eicha. If I know my father was amongst them, hayisi aymer ploni or ploni asurim v'abu mutter. I would have said Bob is Asur, Joe is Asur, Fred is Asur, Charlie is Asur, and my father is mutter. By the way, those four names were guys I went to yeshiva with. So I know they sound like I was naming American names, but those are that is correct name. Fine. So anyway, so ploni. If I would have changed it, and instead of saying kulchem, I would have said ploni is Asur, and then that's mother. Since I'm changing what I would have said, says Rabbah, right? Rabbah says that is in this case mutter. Everybody is this is the machlokes in this case. Beis Shammai would say the others are still Asur, and Beis Hillel says no. Since it's mater miksaso, mater kula. So that was the opinion of Rabbah.
So in other words, according to Rabbah's opinion, he would have had to specify all the other people specifically rather than...
If, according to Rabbah, the only way for everybody to have been mutter, only Lefi Beis Hillel, is if he would have specified
you.
Right, Bob, Joe, Frank, so on and so forth. Chutz me Abba. The Rav Amar, Rav is a little different. The Kuli Alma Kol Heicha the Amru Ilu Hayisi Yedei Shabbat ben Eicha. He said no. Where he would have said, "Hey, had I known my father was amongst them, Hayisi Yedei," I would have said, "Ploni uploni asurim v'abba mutter." I would have changed up my lashon completely and said, named everyone Bob, Joe, Frank, or Asur, and then Abba's mutter. Kulam mutarim. Everyone is mutter in such a case. Everyone is mutter in such a case. You're changing the shvur, so therefore you're undoing the shvur. You would have made a completely different shvur by changing the lashon. Therefore, you're matter one, you're matter all. Nidre shegos. Ella be'omer hayisi. Rather, what's the case? Lo nechlu ella be'omer either hayisi idei Shabbat ben Eicha. Had I known my father was amongst them, hayisi omer, I would have said kulchem asurim chutz me'aba. I would have used the same lashon of kulchem asurim. I just would have tacked on chutz me'aba. Beis Shammai sabri ke Rabbi Meir. So Beis Shammai holds like Rabbi Meir, the Amar Tavas Lashon Risha. So there's another machlokes between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi, right, in regards to a person making a statement, whether even it's contradictory. So do we go according to the first Lashon or the entire Lashon? So Rabbi Meir holds Tavas Lashon Rishon. We go after the first thing, even though you can't say two things simultaneously, you go after the first item. So therefore, Beis Shammai right, who holds that the others are still aser, is because he still would have used the lashon of kulchem asurim. So therefore, kulchem asurim is the main lashon that stays. Beis Hillel sabrin, Beis Hillel holds, and no, Rabbi Yosi, the Omar, the Gemara Dvarav Adam Nitfas, right? The Gemara. So therefore, since the Gemara is changing it, the essence is that he's also going with the father. He's changing what he would have said. So therefore, he's changing the neder, and therefore the neder is nachal. That's considered to be nidre shayos. So Esvei Rav Papa LeRava. So Rav Papa is now going to ask the question on Rava. All right, that was the second. That was the one that we just did, right? Rabba was the one on the base, and Rava was the one we just said who dealt with Tapas Lashon Rishon or Achron. Now, now remember, Rebbe Kiva came in and he says, no, you're sugya all wrong because it's once it's neder shutar mitzasa hutar kula. So that was a chiddush that Rabbi Akiva came to argue on the others. In other words, those who argue, right? In other words, those who argue on it. In other words, Rabbi Akiva is going to argue. Let's see. So what's the case? Rabbi Akiva says another show that makes us who they're kuloi kainem she'eni nana lekulchem. So he makes a kainem she'eni that I will not get any hana from all of you. So hutar echem mehem hutar kula. Right? So if he says the kulchem, all of you guys, so then if one of them become mutter, then all of them, because it was all together, and therefore since they're all together, sheni nana loy lezeb. But if I says, okay, I'm not going to get hana from this one, from this one, from this one, and then hutar rishon, if the first one we matter it hutar kulam, then everybody after is mutter. Right? It's like a line. And hutar achron, we have to also examine this case towards the end. Right, and Hushar Achron, but if only the last person that was mentioned was Matir, I didn't mean you, right? Then Ha'achron Mutter B'Kulan Asur. The other ones still are Asur. Now, how to understand this? So Bishlam the Rabba, this works well according to Rabba, the Mukim Lala Resha, who said basically, now there's basically three cases. There's basically three cases, right? The three cases are, right? The three cases really are, I guess, when he says kulchem, right? And then that's case one, that's the Reisha for sure. Then the Seifa of the Seifa is when he says, I will basically, I'm answering you. And then the last one, he is mattered, right? That was case number 3. And the other case actually is going to be called the Seifa and the Reisha because it's the middle case, just the Gabi, which one? But the middle case number 2 is a case of where he basically is, he says you, but he never meant the first guy, right? He never meant the first guy to answer him. Had he known, he wouldn't. So that was the case where we said then hutar rishon, hutar kula. Now, bishlam l'rabba mukin l'reisha. The first 2 cases damar l'zel. Now, in the case of the reisha, he would have said, had I would have known that you were amongst them, I never would have included you, right? And I was in that case, that's the reason why kulam mutar. The Seifa Dharma Kulchem, and the Seifa, he says, oh no, all of you guys. Had I known, I would have said all you guys except for the Chusazu. So therefore, it's understandable the halachas el ladidcha, but according to you, Rabba, bishlam reisha mukim la Dharma Kulchem. According to you. Right, so when you say lekulchem and then you matter, so therefore everyone is mutter. Ella, turn the page. Ella seifa, damar lezeh. But in the last case, right, where we say lezeh, where this is the case of where we hutar rishon, hutar kulam, right, which is really case number 2, but they're calling it over here the seifa, right, even though earlier we just called it the reisha. Ella seifa, damar lezeh. So Rabbi Kiva so. It's only according to Rabbi Kiva. If he in other words, where he would have said zelazeh. Am I playing Rabban Alel? Why would the Rabban argue? Marta divrei kol mutter. According to what you said before, right? If you said zelazeh, you would have completely changed it around from the lashon you said that divrei kol mutter. Samalei Rabba l'Rabba, Rabbi Kiva mimicha, right? So even according to you, is Rabbi Kiva, there's only him arguing with Rabbanan because he has a special minicha, right? Now remember. The machlokes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai, where they argue, is really of where we apply this halacha of Neder Shehutar Mitzasa Hutar Kulo, which is Rabbi Kiva's Chiddush, right? Which is what Beis Hillel was saying. So now, if we say Kuli Alma, that means we don't. It's not just Rabbi Kiva; it's everybody. But even according to you, so Rabbi Kiva Ulu Rabba, Akiva Minicha, Seifa Mayo Kimo Damar LaKuchem, right? So what's the case of the Seifa, right? Where he says Kulchem, in other words, when he knew it was them. So Hayadinu Rishon, Hayadinu Achron. So what does it mean? If you would have said LaKuchem, right? Chutz Meyaba. So where does it come in? Who's first and who's second? What's going on here? So rather, don't ask this case. It's a different case. Ela Reisha Damar LaKuchem. The Reisha over here, Rabbi Kiva is talking about LaKuchem. The Seifa could go in Shetolan Zebazeh, right? And in the Seifa, he basically says, right, Bob is Usser from it, and Joe is like Bob, and Frank is like Joe. So in other words, each one is totally on the next one. That's why there's Rishon and Achron. Now, it doesn't mean others. It means Rishon and Achron. Amar Ploni, Kaploni, Uploni, Kaploni. And Dikanami, Titania, Hutar and Sai, right? Another Brisa says, in this case, Hutar and Sai, Hemeno, Hutar and Sai. So Hemenu Lamata Mutar, Lamala Asurin, right? In other words, if he says the middle one, let's say there was listed 5 people. If he matter number 3, then 3, 4, and 5 are mutter, but 1 and 2 would still remain asur. So therefore, it's a different case. When you're told one or the other, therefore, that was the case there. That's why it depends on the order. And in the Reisha, where he says Kulchem, and therefore he would have changed the Lashon, therefore it works out according to everybody, and therefore it's not a Kasha and Rabba or Rabba. So Esvei Rav Ada Bar Ava L'Rav. So now we ask a Kasha and Rabba. So Kainem Batzel Sheni Toyim Shah Batzel Ra L'Leiv. Person says
This onion.
an onion. Onions are usher to me because all onions are bad for you. Amrullah Valahe Kufri Yafel L'Leiv. Well, what do you mean? You just asked all the onions in the world because you said all the onions are bad for you. Well, what about the kufri is actually good for you, right? Yafet l'leiv, right? Look at all the medical journals, right? They all say the kufri onion is good for you. Yafet l'leiv. So hutar b'kufri, lahutar. So he says, okay, the kufri type of onion is mutter. The like kufri bilvad hutar ella kol habsalim. Rather not just the kufri, but rather all onions. And Maisa Hayava Hitir Ravi Meir called Absalom. And we had such a Maisa, and he mattered all type of onions. I guess because it was the medical journal, but these were assumed to be a fact that the kufri is good for you, the other ones were not. Now, so my love, the Omar Ilo Yisi Idea Shakufri Yafalale. So what's the situation here? Why did he matter everything? Right? Are we not talking to Omar? Had I would have known that the kufri is Yalalev on a time, I would have made the net there. I would have said, Kol Absalim Asurim, the kufri mutter. All of the Absalim are Asur, and except for the kufri, right? Except for the kufri. And even in this case, right, he says that all of them become mutter. Rameir, right? He mattered all of them. So it's a kashin because according to you, it should just be the kufri shui mutter. If you say kulchem chutz, right? It should be all of them. In such a case, the other ones should remain aser. So lo, but no, we're not doing that. No, he would have said, had I would have known shakufi yafil that it was good for the heart. But ploni asur. I would have named all the other onions, right? The red onion, the yellow onion, blah 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 blah, right? The kufri mutter and kufri mutter. And the Rabbi Meir, and therefore, right, the Rabbi Meir, aliba the Rabbi Kiva, and therefore in this case, right, Rabbi Meir, aliba the Rabbi Kiva, aliba the Rabban. And therefore in this case, Rabbi Meir goes the Kuli Amal. In other words, everyone agreed, not just when you're Mata Miktasa Mata Kulo, but even in the case of, since you're changing around the lashon of what you would have said, therefore the entire neder that you made earlier is basically gone because you would have made a completely different neder, and therefore you have now mattered everything. So Esvei Ravina l'Rava. Now Ravina has a kasha to Rava. Rabbi Nassan Aimer Yesh neder shemitzasa mutter mitzasa aser. Right? There is a case of where part of the neder is still intact, right? Is still in place, or is not in place, is mutter. And the other part is still intact. What's that case? Ketzad. So another mina kalkula, if a person went ahead and made a nether from a basket of figs, v'hayuba, and in this bag there was b'nai shuach, right? A type of fig, right? V'omar ila yisi. Now, so he asked all of them. And v'omar, he says ila yisi there shabnai shuach b'seicha la yisi neder. How kalkula? Had I would have known that they were here, I would never have made such a nether, right? So mutaris. So in the beginning we said, okay, if that's the case, then everything else is still also, except for the shuach is mutar. Ad shabbat Rabbi Kiva, until Rabbi Kiva came, but made nether shuach mitzasa hudar kulot. Until Rabbi Kiva came and says, no, this is the exact case. So if you matter part of it, you matter the shuach figs, then everything should be mutar. So my lab damar ila you see there should be shuach v'seicha. If he or we died time in a case where we said, hey, Hannah would have known that it was inside it. How you see I meritainim shechayrus levanos asuras b'nei shuach mutaris. That even in a case of this only case is referring to, and Rabbi Kiva still argues, right? That he says, no, I would have said the white ones are usur and the black ones are usur, but the shuach are mutar. And nevertheless, it was only Rabbi Kiva who mattered, but not the Rabbanan. It seems like it's not Kulei Alma, right? But Rabbi Kiva, Upliga Rabbanan, says, no, we're not talking about the case, but Aimer either Hayisi Adesh, Abin Ashuk, Masaicha had another Bin Ashuk, we're in Hayisi Aimer, Kola Kalkala Surah, and Bin Ashuk Mutaris. Right? So therefore, I would have said in this case, no, had I would have known that what it was, I would have just changed the lashon of saying these are muteris and the other ones are usur. I would not have changed the ikar lashon, and therefore it's dafka Rabbi Kiva who would matter and not the Rabbanan. And even though it's short to the Mishnah, it's a different sugya. We'll stop here tomorrow. It's Hashem. We will continue from here. Everyone have a lovely day.